TVET News. Get the whole story.
Well, a very good morning to you and thank you for making time. You're watching Morning Prime, and it being a Tuesday, we focus on education matters. Now get this, technical and vocational training centers. I know you've heard of TVETs time and time again since 2013, and they're widely considered as an important tool in strengthening the school-to-work transition. They equally play a role in reducing poverty and achieving economic growth, even going a step further to play a key role in the implementation of projects under the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030. We've seen a lot of developments happening in this particular sector when it comes to technical and vocational training. Since 2013, we've seen the amount disbursed by the national government to these institutions actually go up. Even as we speak, the trainees under such institutions are actually encompassed in the government education loans, better known as HELB. So we've come a long way since 2013 in terms of strengthening these vocational training centers. And just recently, while we were listening to CS for Treasury, Ukuriatani, reading about the highlights of the 2022-2023 budget, he mentioned that a substantial amount of money has actually been set aside for TVET institutions in order to facilitate those learners. And we'll get to break down these statistics for you in a way only we can in terms of the increase in capitation and grants to TVET institutions. But at the end of the day, we're trying to interrogate the value, the impact of some of these institutions, especially coming at a time where the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education has just been concluded. We're waiting for the results, and according to the CS for Education, he had mentioned a little bit earlier on that they should be coming out even before the schools reopen. So in anticipation of this, even as we wait for those who passed to make their way to universities and such institutions, what is the status of the institutions in the country? We'll get to deliberate on these matters and much more. I'm joined in studio by two gentlemen who work in terms of the vocational and technical institutions across the country. I'll just start with Sami Waitito, who's joining me on my right. Sami, it's great to see you and good morning. Is it too late to say Happy Easter?
Maybe a bit late.
Maybe a bit late,
but
yeah.
The mood is still on.
Definitely. Sami, yes. It's a pleasure having you with us. You're the principal of the Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology. We'll get to know more about what KIST has done and the steps you've taken over the years in terms of progress as well. Okay, to my left, I'm joined by Stephen Kamwanza. Thank you so much for your time, yes, and good morning.
Morning to you.
It's great to see you with us. He's a hand skills trainer, but most importantly, the general manager at the Blessing Institute of Professional Studies. So gentlemen, before we begin the deliberations on how important TVET is, the analysis of the progress so far, and perhaps the challenges here and there where we need to tighten a little bit in terms of perhaps increasing the uptake and all that, let's take a look at a TVET workshop that was held just last week between the 10th and the 15th in Mombasa, and some of the sentiments that were raised during that particular workshop. Let's listen in.
If you are implementing an internal project which is construction, the ministry must participate in the supervision. We shall be coming to see that the materials are being tested, and the public works is doing also due diligence, and the mwananchi can be assured that the tax are being put to good use. Cardinal among all this, I want to say that the TVET system has reached a point that it has reached. We have had the TVET Act since 2013 to date. We also had the University Act, which was also around the same time in 2013. The University Act has been revised more than 4 times. With the TVET Act has not been revised. And therefore I know I have a letter from the Cabinet Secretary, and I know that the chief guest during the closing will also state much about the same. We are in the process of the TVET Act review.
And I can even mention a number of institutions
where deputy principals wants to do the work of the principals, where even some of deputy principals are even colluding with members of the board to sabotage the work of the principal. I want to assure you and I want to tell you that is a very dangerous trajectory. And what you are doing is actually a disservice to yourself. You are sabotaging your career. Because we will not allow you to be a principal when you are sabotaging the current management. We will not. And that one we can take it to the bank. So I want to encourage you. Work very closely with your principals. Give them an opportunity to mentor you.
Okay, so just some sentiments right there during a workshop held in Mombasa just last week concerning TVET institutions across the country. As I mentioned, Sami Waititu is joining me right here, as well as Stephen Kamwanza. Let's begin with the latest, perhaps. And now, as I had mentioned a little bit earlier, I was listening to the CS for Education, Ukuri Etani, and in terms of the benefits the education sector is getting, in terms of the allocation, they're getting a cumulative 544 billion shillings, and that's good money in the 2022-2023 financial year. But out of this, 5.2 billion capitation is for TVET students. I can see you smiling. Perhaps let's begin with you. Is this good news considering the increase in allocation of spaces in TVET institutions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jesse. It is quite good news. Money can never be enough, but at least there is an increment, and we are happy for it. At least we'll be able to absorb more students, and more Kenyans will benefit.
Speaking of the absorption rate, and the TVET institutions were introduced as perhaps a buffer. Not everyone makes it to universities, to get those white-collar jobs, quote-unquote. Now, the TVET institutions were brought in to sort of buffer on the youth unemployment issues in the country. When it comes to enrollment, have we seen an upsurge? What would you say about the enrollment in your institution?
Yes, we have a huge upsurge. Maybe talking of my institution, Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology. In September 2021, we were 4,800. In January 2022, we were 7,200.
Okay.
And that is not just for KIST, it is the case for all the TVET institutions, particularly the public ones.
And what do you attribute this success to in terms of higher enrollment?
Okay, two major things. The capitation, which has made the TVET education more affordable, and we also have the publicity. People have gotten to know about TVET more and more. They have gotten to realize that TVET is the way to go. Look at our results, especially at KCSE. Most of those who complete the course or the training are actually candidates for TVET.
Okay.
So by that fact alone, the results and the performance, we have a huge number or a huge pool to tap from. Okay,
that's really proper. Kamwanza, let's listen from you. And as I was introducing you, I mentioned your hand skills manager from being the GM at Blessings Institute of Professional Studies. And there was a time where hand skills were sort of frowned upon, especially when we're talking about pupils who are transitioning from just doing their KCSE and they're looking forward to higher education, the campuses, the institutions of higher learning and whatnot. Well, what exactly would you say about the hand skills position we're at right now? Is it still being frowned upon?
Well, thank you, Jesse, for such a question. During those days when the hand skills were being frowned on, actually the population, the population of the youth was not as much as today. The population is at high rate. The proportion of the unemployed youth in this country and globally is shooting up every other time. And now the option now has become the hands-on skills. You got to be there, be your own boss, employ yourself. Because if you look at TVET courses, and more so because they are practical oriented, you'll find that 16 to 25% of those who have completed those courses are self-employed. So this actually brings in the element of frowning is never again an element to be seen in hands-on skills training.
Okay, that's really proper. And I was listening to C.S. Magoha speaking just recently, and he called on tutors, just like you, in TVET institutions to undertake a paradigm shift, you know, move away from the theory-based examinations to practical solutions for common life challenges. Well, what's the case when it comes to TVET institutions? And perhaps you can borrow from your institution. Is it theory-based? Are we actually more practical when it comes to the examinations? How do you apply it?
Well, it is more practical than theory, because if you look at the admissions, there are those who have just completed their class 8, they have challenges, they cannot continue with the next level. There are those who still have dropped in between the high school, and all these people, if you bring them together, the same group, you cannot give them a theory which is of a certain level. You need to balance them, and you can only balance them through actually practical education, which is I think that's how we're handling it, more practical than theoretical.
Okay, that's well noted. And perhaps even as you add on that, let's talk about the balance between TVET institutions and some of these universities, because we're looking at high numbers, just as is mentioned, high numbers of unemployment, especially amongst the youth in the country. We all can work in offices, and the big question would be, how exactly has TVET played a role perhaps in pushing or enhancing the Big Four agenda, in plugging into Vision 2030, and, you know, just contributing to the national vision that we have as a country, irrespective of the leadership of the day?
Okay, I think TVET has done quite a lot, and especially in recent times, because at the moment we are the total population is around 300,000, way above 55,000 that was there around 2013. And with the big numbers being trained, we are also graduating so many and releasing them to the labor market. And there has been a shift in the interest the students are in. Initially, they were mainly interested in business related courses that ideally were to lead you to working in an office. But that is not the reality. So by and by, the proportion of students doing hands-on courses, particularly the engineering courses, is increasing. As we talk, I was checking the statistics yesterday, and it is like now we have 70% in the skills-related courses versus 30% in business. And I believe the reality is dictating that people keep changing. We still need the business graduates, but not in the big numbers that we have been producing them. But TVET is there. We have done a lot of marketing, a lot of career guidance, and with that, it is like our graduates are now, our candidates are now realizing that skills is the way to go. Otherwise, the jobs in the offices are getting fewer and fewer.
Would you say we're listening to the demands of the job market, or we're just churning out numbers, assuming that skills is what the job market needs at the current time and age?
That the situation previously was that we were churning out graduates to go to the market without really benchmarking with the market to know what is the demand. At the moment, things have changed. We are working closely with the industry. Like, just to give an example, in setting our curriculum, the competency-based education and training, we are involving the industry closely. It is the industry to give us what they require, design the curriculum with them, and train train with them. And every other time we keep referring to the industry just to confirm that what we are doing is the right thing.
That's proper. Kamwanza, perhaps you can add your voice to that, because partnerships with job creators is quite important, even for the learners, the TVET trainees who are still in the institutions, because we have to ensure that the skills that are trained are relevant for the job market in one way or the other. Talk about the structures that have been put in place. You can even borrow from your institution so that we can ensure that there are high levels of productivity even as we enhance access to the formal or informal jobs industry.
Well, as the principal has said then, the government has also assisted in this to collaborate with market job creators, the manufacturers and all that, so that when we are training these people, when we are training the learners, we are in collaboration with the job market which is available. We're not just training people just to go and look for jobs. As you said, there is that structure which is laid down there. We're following this structure, we're following this curriculum. When you're training this person, if he's an electrical wireman, at least you know this electrical wireman, there is an industry which needs an electrical wireman. Just don't train our electrical wireman and release him to the market. So that is actually an encouragement, and it is becoming more, as it is said now, things are changing, because it is becoming more attractive actually per se, because at the end of it all, you'll find someone who has gone to university. Yes, there's this mismatch, the school and the work. He's gone to university, done some theory, and the industry needs someone with practical exposure.
That's why at times they're usually trainings, induction.
Induction. So you find someone from, it has been in university for 4 years, gotten a job, but someone who has been a TVET, done for 3 or 4 years, is better than that. And you told now, we are encouraging even those people who have gone to university, come to TVET courses, acquaint yourself with skills, practical skills, so that when you go to the market, you are a complete person. Yes.
What you've mentioned has stuck with me in terms of, rebranding and making this attractive to young people. Because I think in terms of increasing uptake, the goal would be not just to have those who are allocated to TVET institutions, but those who got grades for university and are perhaps pursuing courses, equally opting to give themselves skills in some of these vocational courses. Is that the case? Do we have such cases where we have university graduates, but they're like, hey, hold on, I'll hold on to the degree kidogo, let me start with TVET and get these skills first of all? Is that the case?
It is happening. It's happening because you find that someone scored a C+, the minimum entry to university.
True.
That is it. And you've been admitted to a course which is not really a calling to you. Then you have an option. The TVET courses are here. You have a variety of choices. Then why go to university to an admission, to a faculty, or to a course which it's not appealing to you? Well, we have them in TVET, and you are equally qualified. So we're saying issues where we're seeing students whereby even at university, someone is in second year, but it feels like this, what I'm doing may not give me at the end result what I need in life. So they change and get enrolled to our institutions, and we assist them.
Well, that's really proper. And perhaps as you add on that, you mentioned the statistics in terms of increase in enrollment. I happen to have them 55,945 in 2013 compared to 249,316 in 2022. And as you mentioned, this has been attributed to increase in capitation of TVETs and even the form of grants the government hands over and the loan as well. As you add on that, increase in allocation, we have increase in teachers, we have increase in students. Do we have increase in teachers as well? Is there a shortage of teachers across TVET institutions in the country?
Yes, we have a serious shortage, but I have to recognize one thing.
Yeah.
That in 2018 we were 3,700 teachers, or around that figure.
Yeah.
Then in 2020 the government has hired 3,000, almost 100% increase. That has been a good thing, but then it has not matched the big leap in the student numbers. So we have the number of trainers has greatly increased, but we still have a serious shortage.
Okay.
And I believe it is being addressed in this year's budget. Our hope
Hopefully,
is that we'll get another 3,000 more trainers.
Okay.
To make it 9 to 10,000.
Because I was listening to the discussion on the age, and I asked you a little bit earlier on the age of retiring, whether it's been changed from 60 to 65, because there was discussion about that. Because I sort of got the picture that perhaps these officials don't want vocational and training department not to lack in terms of they haven't recruited, but
yes,
these people with skills are definitely aging. We don't want to phase them off. Perhaps is that sort of a similar scenario?
I think that discussion is there.
Yeah.
I think it is a healthy one, given that these are the people with skills.
Okay.
You get more proficient as you age and as you practice. And our current situation, so many are due to retire, and with the current serious shortage, this may be the solver of our issue.
The silver
that retain
bullet.
these who are highly skilled. They are better placed to create more opportunities for the upcoming graduates. I know it may be an issue.
It may be an issue, and perhaps let's listen from Kamwanza here, because these institutions are training youth who are getting these skills, and we're told they're the leaders of tomorrow. And you know, it's always rough when it comes to increasing the age of retirement vis-a-vis giving these young people opportunity to be able to lead this country and whatnot. It's a tough balance, don't you think?
Well, it's a tough balance, but also to the advantage of it is that the aging are more skilled.
True.
They are more skilled, and especially in this area of TVET, we need the baton to be handed over in the right way. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if we wish them off at 65, I believe they have other 5 years of productivity. They can work, they can impact skills and experience to this youth and hand over the baton at a stage whereby now we know at least all the skills they've had have been exhausted and impacted on this youth. They can now go home and rest. Yeah.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. Definitely, I'm pretty sure the conversation is out there, and people will be the judge of that even as we wait for direction from the relevant authorities. Gentlemen, allow us to take a short break. Stay with us, our viewers. We're definitely continuing with the discussion on the impact of TVET institutions. Remember, we're waiting the results of the 2021 KCSE examinations, and of course, the next focus, once they're released, is in terms of placement, and TVET institutions will play a key role in ensuring that we don't just get education but quality education dispensed to those who have definitely are willing to continue with their education. When we come back from this short break, we'll talk more about TVET institutions and equally how the implementation of CBC and training is in the TVET institutions. Stay with us.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
In the spirit of Kenyanness, we have come together to help our brothers and sisters affected by drought. Join us by dialing *126# to donate bonga points, cash or food, and lift one another in oneness. Pamoja tuungane.
We've done it again. Your favorite channel has been nominated for this year's Kuza Broadcasting Awards as the best TV station. We need your help to take this all the way to the finish line. To vote, send the word Kuza to 15601. Voting ends on 8th May 2022. Remember, it's Kuza to 15601. We value your feedback and welcome any comments, queries, or complaints regarding our news content. You can get in touch with us on SMS 22155, call 0719 012 450, or email feedback@standardmedia.co.ke, or you can send us a letter on Post Office Box 30080-00100, or deliver it to our offices at Standard Group Center, Mombasa Road, Nairobi. KTN News. Get the whole story.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you for staying with Morning Prime. We continue with our discussions, and as I mentioned, it being a Tuesday, we focus on education matters. This time round on the technical vocational education institutions in the country, better known as TVETs. We're just taking a look at their impact since 2013. What exactly have they been able to do in terms of plugging into the Big Four agenda, the Vision 2030, and of course, alleviating the numbers in terms of youth unemployment in the country. So far, since 2013, the government has spent 55.4 billion shillings revamping TVETs, and this has enabled TVETs to one or the other revolutionize, modernize, along with the demands of the job market. And interestingly, I just mentioned the numbers in terms of enrollment. There was an increase. Since 2013, we had 55,945 trainees enrolling in TVET institutions. As we speak, in 2022, the numbers have shot up to 249,000 approximately. And definitely this has been attributed to the increase in capitation and equally the inclusion of some of these trainees in the education loan system by the government. In studio, I'm joined by Sami Waititu, who is the principal at the Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology, and equally Stephen Kamwanza, who is a hand skills trainer and the general manager of Blessing Institute of Professional Studies. Before we took a short break, gentlemen, we were able to sort of substantiate that one or the other TVET courses are more attractive to the youthful population in the country. Now let's talk about the challenges, if there are any, in terms of perhaps if it's more allocation. You mentioned that there's a shortage of teachers, even as you lauded the government for the good work so far in terms of increasing the number of teachers. What are the challenges so far? And perhaps you can start with you in terms of your institute, even in a holistic view, TVET institutions across the country.
Okay. With the huge numbers that are coming up, we definitely experience shortages. One of them is with the trainers. We don't have enough. I've just mentioned that. We also need infrastructure in terms of classrooms. The numbers have grown very fast compared to the rate at which then the number of classes is increasing. So that is a huge challenge that we already have. Then the TVET training requires equipment, and sometimes very heavy equipment that the institutions may not be able to purchase for themselves. For us to give proper training, we need equipment, which the government has to plug in. And I want also to recognize that this has happened in most of the old institutions. At least one department has has a very modern, actually very modern equipment that you may not find even in our universities. But there is still you are equipped in one area, yet you are offering 10 or 15 different areas. So we need equipment, which is coming in slowly by slowly. But the good thing is that with the big numbers, the capitation, the money that flows into the institution is also bigger, and you are able to equip the department. Not fully, so we need the government to intervene and supply the equipment without relying on the capitation that we get.
Okay.
So those are the main challenges.
And perhaps even as you add on the challenges, we've seen so much focus in terms of changing CBC. You know, we're currently 844, we're transitioning to the CBC curriculum. Is there any development happening at the TVET level, at the higher institutions of learning level? Yeah.
Well, if you look at the CBC itself, is a curriculum-based competence with skills, and this is just, there is a gap in between the CBC, there is TVET, and in between there is a group which is not really oriented to TVET as compared to CBC.
Okay.
All right. Because in CBC, these kids are really on practical skills.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is joining the TVET with the lower level through that kind of training. Right?
I get your picture, yeah.
Now, if you look at, maybe if I go back to where we are, that is Blessing Institute of Professional Studies, at Kawangware, Kikuyu, and also Kangemi, you'll find that there are students there who are really on skills. They want to learn, right? But their challenge is the challenge is the government would wish the government to support its population with enough grants. For example, the CDF bursaries and all that, because there are students who are opting to take short courses, a course of 3 months, which is baking, a course of 6 months, for example, catering, which we are offering there. And you find that these students, after taking that, she goes, she works, look for money for herself, then afterwards they come and enroll for a full hospitality course, which takes 2 or 3 years. So I think with that, the CBC and the TVET, they are not very far. They just, the basic of TVET is the CBC.
They complement each other.
Yeah, they complement each other.
Okay, and that's really noted. Yeah, you can add on that.
Maybe just to add something, that as far as preparedness to take up the students who have gone through the CBC program, the TVET institutions are already set. If you look at the TVET Act of 2013, it has created a body called CDAC. That is Curriculum Development Assessment and Certification Council. Okay. So it is actually dealing with CBET courses. That is competency-based education and training. So it is like the CBET set the right laws long before CBC came to be mentioned. And so far, a lot has been done. Hundreds of curricula have been developed. So we already have the curricula. Some institutions, including mine, KIST, we are implementing some of the CBET courses. So it is like the TVET institutions, starting with the law and the creation of the necessary structures is already set for the CBC graduates.
So in turn, everything is aligning, because you've mentioned implementation of the competency-based education and training, CBET.
Yes, CBET.
Is there in TVET institutions?
Yes, it is already there.
Okay. And are TVET being used to perhaps train the teachers who will be dispensing some of this knowledge as well? What would you say about that?
Yes, in fact, we realized the gap. That now what we require is more hands-on training versus the theory-based training that has been there. So we realize that our teachers may be lacking in some of the skills. The government has come up with a program that is based at KTTC, the Kenya Technical Trainers College, where our trainers will be able to go and get upskilled in the various courses. The KTTC will also be partnering with the various institutions that have the best equipment, and utilizing those with skills to upskill the teachers in preparation for TVET. So the structure is already there.
Okay.
It is already working. On a small scale, in some areas on a pilot basis, but it is already there. So many teachers are already at KTTC.
Okay.
With the upscaling.
It's safe to say the skeleton is working.
Yes.
Okay.
True.
Anyway, as you add your voice, Kamwanza, what message do you tell this cohort of 2021 KCSE who are perhaps watching, waiting for their results right now, and they're exploring some of their options, perhaps institutions of higher learning with the allure it's always had, vis-a-vis the TVET institutions that are coming up, impacting skills to these young, fresh minds in order to equip them for the job market thereafter? What words of encouragement would you give them in order for them to look at TVET institutions, not while frowning, but equally looking at it as a way to buffer up on my employability or entrepreneurial skills? Yeah.
Well, what I can say is that things have changed. What I want to tell them, it is not that those days would imagine going to university was the only way you would earn livelihood. And the world is changing to more practical than theoretical it used to be. So what I'm saying is that in as much as you don't qualify to get admission in public university, the TVET is the best option I can ever imagine as at now. Because how the world is rolling now, it is actually ended to a situation whereby you will not be relevant unless you are skilled. And you can only get these skills from these courses, TVET courses, and the related courses. Yeah.
Okay, that's well noted. And you can equally add your voice to that. But I was interacting with a fellow young mind, and he was, how do we say, inquisitive. Alikuwa anataka kujua how exactly TVET institutions, which are skill-based, how do you teach these practical skills online? Is there an option of doing that, or it's limited to face-to-face since we're talking about practical skills? Yeah.
Yes, it is possible to teach skills online, but still, and it is happening.
Oh, it is
not it is not far-fetched. It is happening. But then at the end of the day, you need to touch and feel the equipment. If you are being trained in baking, which can happen, you can watch it on TV.
Yes.
But then you have to be in the kitchen to touch the ingredients, to feel the heat and feel the smell. The same case with an engineering course. You can be taught online, you can be exposed, you can see videos, but then at the end of the day, you need to touch the machine. You need to switch it on. You need to weld. You need to do those things physically. So part of it can be done online, but not the whole of it. A balance can be between 50-50 basis.
Okay.
You watch videos, then you go to a workshop, put on the overall, and do what you are supposed to do.
That's noted. And perhaps still with you, in the bigger picture, kindly break it down for us. Why revamped TVETs could be the cure to unemployment, especially amongst the youth? For someone who hasn't seen the importance of TVET and elevating the numbers of youth unemployment, how do we link these two together? Yeah.
I think the reality is already with us, that the white-collar jobs are not there. In any case, you need a manager to manage thousands of workers. Yes. So the idea that we could all fit into white-collar jobs it is now clear that is not an option.
Okay.
So we need people who will create who will create wealth with one or two managers managing thousands of us. And I want to remind the graduates of KCSE that what you need at the end of the day is food on your table. You'll not get food on your table by telling how to do it. You have to do. And that is the challenge we have had. It is already a fact that quite a number, and many of our university graduates are tamaking and going back to do things that they never thought they would ever do. I want to encourage those who are waiting for their results. The results will come. It will be great to have an A and at least to qualify to go to a university. But then it is also important to evaluate. Now that you have a C+, do you really need to go to university? By taking a course that is theory-based, are you assured of getting food on your table at the end of the 4 years? And I want to inform that we already have students with A's who are in our TVET institutions. We have them who are admitted to universities, to good courses, BCom and such. Yeah. But they opted not to go there because they know the value of skills. What you need at the end of the day is food on your table. And I can talk of my institution, KIST, which is not unique. Yeah. We have quite a number of graduates from universities who already have degrees. They have tamacked for a year or two and realize that they need the skills. We have civil engineers who are taking a diploma course in our TVET institutions, and you can be sure this will be the reality. Why do you take your time, go to the university, spend 5 years or 4 years, then fail to get a job, tarmac, and then go to the TVET institutions where you would have gone to start with? My advice would be take a course that will give you income. Then the option of going to the university is still there.
Okay.
Thank you.
The reality is, as much as it's attractive, alluring, we're living in an age where IT is the in thing. Are TVET institutions bringing this on board, perhaps to also use it as a lure to attract these young minds who are IT oriented in one way or the other, or we are simply telling them it's the hammer and brick sort of, break it down for us?
Well, for example, in our institution, Blessing Institute of Professional Studies, IT is one of the courses we are offering as a TVET, and we have exams from NITA. So when you listen to young people, most of them rush. They want to get the basics of the IT before doing anything else, right? Before even enrolling in other courses
and whatnot. Yeah.
That is a good one, because as the world is speeding up, IT is becoming very important. That's why we're embracing it with the quality and urgency that these learners need to be trained IT as a package, as a course, in diploma, in certificate, and all that, such that there are those who will remain in the IT part of it and run with that. There are those who will do IT, bit of it, but still get into the other courses which they feel they are best fit in them. So we're also offering that in Blessing, and we're really doing it with a lot of quality and urgency in it, and a lot of advertisement to the youth that what does IT mean? Well, there are those who know just IT is information technology, and that's all right? So you need to bring them down, tell them this IT runs from here all the way to here. Where do you want to go up to? You want the whole of it, or you want a bit, or you have another interest? If you have a bit, take a bit, then go to your interested course.
Okay, that's well noted. Gentlemen, as we finalize and as I get your closing remarks, We've definitely painted a picture of the journey TVET institutions have come in terms of increase in the trainees, increase in capitation and the grants and whatnot. But we happen to find ourselves in a transition year. I know the education sector is ongoing irrespective of the leadership, but needless to say, the goodwill from the government has definitely played a big part in bringing up these TVET institutions and changing the perception as well amongst the population. Going forth into the next dispensation, do we need more renewed focus? Well, what should we focus on when it comes to TVET so we don't take 5 steps forward and 10 steps backward?
I think we need to build on the foundation that has already been laid, which is a good one.
Yeah.
And but now fast track the rate at which we are increasing the funding for TVET.
Okay.
I think we are doing well.
Yeah.
But we need to fast track that process, because I can see we have increased about 5 times in about 10 years.
Yes.
I see us now increasing, doubling in the next 2 years. So the amount of funding provided by the government needs to be upgraded in a much bigger way. And maybe even as we conclude, I want to demystify one thing.
Yeah.
That TVET is for the dirty and hard work. Going to the workshops and welding, going to masonry workshops.
Yeah.
We have ICT as a very key area.
Okay.
So we also have other skills. We have electrical engineering. And for us, as TVET institutions, we are offering it at diploma and certificate level.
Okay.
And we have graduated into mechatronics, where you combine mechanical, electrical, electronics, and ICT. So if one wants to, there is a variety of things to do.
There's something for everyone.
There is, even those who are averse to dust.
All right.
There is still something.
Okay, that's well noted. Briefly, Kamwanza, your final remarks.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is this. If you look at the caliber or the abilities of the learners we give these skills. For example, we do air and beauty.
Okay.
And we equip them with the skills. After that, some of them find it hard because they want to be their own boss. On the other side, the employment is not friendly. What I'm urging is this: if the government would chip in for youth fund, and in application of this youth fund, you apply alongside a skill.
Okay.
I've done air and beauty, like just the way we do at Blessing.
All right.
I've done electrical engineering, just the way we do at Blessing. And when you're applying this youth fund, apply alongside your certificate. I've been able to, so I'm taking this money to go and build my own empire. I want to employ myself.
All the skills that I've learned.
Those are the skills that I've learned. And I start paying my taxes immediately.
Well, thank you for that, Stephen Kamwanza. We appreciate your input right here, a hand skills trainer and the GM at the Blessings Institute of Professional Studies. And we're equally joined by Sami Waitito. Thank you so much for your time and input, who is the principal at the Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology. So much to talk about technical and vocational training institutions across the country. But needless to say, the focus is still on TVET institutions and the important role they play in helping the country achieve its goals. When we talk about the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030 and the likes. My name is Jesse Rogers. Thank you so much for watching Morning Prime. We meet in a few on News Diary in just a few minutes. Keep it KTN News.